Thank you for joining us today. My name is Christy Blyzeffer, and I'm the newest staff writer for Poets and Quants. We're at another admissions panel, so if you have any questions, please use the chat function below. I want to welcome our three panelists today, and thank you for joining us. First, we have Nita Swinsick, Assistant Dean, Recruitment and Admissions at Georgetown McDonough School of Business. Brad Ivan, Executive Director of the MS in Product Development at Tepper School of Business. And Dr. Sogol Humayun, Assistant Director of Master of Global Management Recruitment, ASU Thunderbird School of Global Management. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
So we're just gonna, if you don't mind, start with Nita, and we're gonna go really basic. Just tell us about your program, how long it's been around, and what does it cover?
Absolutely. Thank you, Christy. So our Master of Science in Management program at Georgetown has been around for 3 years. It's a general management curriculum with a technology and innovation focus. We also have a lot of experiential, I should say immersive experiential learning in the program as well, including a global consulting project abroad. And then we have a big focus on careers as well. So we have weekly career development sessions during the program, for example.
Very good. Well, thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Christy. Our program is designed to meet a very specific industry need, and that need is that the demand for product managers and their skills outweighs the supply. In fact, our program was started by Andrew Moore, who was the dean of our School of Computer Science at the time and is currently a VP at Google Cloud. And his observation was that product managers are like finding gold. The skills are so rare in the combination to find that even at a company like Google, to find a good PM is a rare find. So as a result, he started our program to answer that call. And in doing so, we provide our students with design, technical, and business skills, along with leadership along the way, to provide them the skills necessary to succeed in product management. We're a young program. We're entering our 5th year in January. And we are unique in several ways. We're really kind of unique in that we exist specifically for this industry need and provide this combination of skills in 1 year's time. We're also very heavily biased toward experienced professionals as opposed to undergrads with no experience. So it's a combination of sort of ingredients that make up the recipe there.
Very good. Finding gold. I like that.
Me too.
And how about you, Dr. Humayun?
Well, the Master of Global Management actually has been around for over 20 years. We've evolved through the times because of the different types of industrial revolutions that we've gone through. So our biggest focus right now is, of course, IR 4.0, right? So Industrial Revolution 4.0 for us is created a brand new landscape for international managers to navigate, the global marketplace. And historically, since Thunderbird has been around for about 75 years and has been training international managers for so long, the key to our discipline is a mix between political science, economics, business, international business practices, as well as cross-cultural leadership and second language learning, to be able to develop more well-rounded leaders in hopes of being able to manage our existing global teams. And it takes a particular type of mindset. So the type of students we look for are the ones who are interested in traveling for work, speaking another language, cross-culturally communicating with different people. So that way they can be effective in their way that they're going to lead people in different locations.
Absolutely. Okay, Brad, we'll start with you for this next question. Who is generally attracted to the program and who does it best serve?
Yeah, our program, the simplest way to answer that is to say that technical professionals. So generally we have students that come in with, it's a diverse variety of technical backgrounds, but it's typically technical in nature in one manner or another. About half of our students came from computer science undergrad and professional careers. Another quarter of them come from other types of engineering. And then the final quarter is miscellaneous. But all of them have had professional careers to the point that they've decided that now is the time to become a product manager. That's my next step. And the kind of interesting twist to that aspect is that we have a broad range of number of years experience among our students, but we actually have a slightly higher average years worked professionally than a typical MBA program. We're somewhere near 7 years of software development experience, project management experience, other types of engineering. And we find that to be very successful because companies want to hire very proven product managers. It's one of those very unique roles that you have to earn your reputation for quite a few years.
Very good. What about you, Dr. Humayun?
Well, our program does accept students with or without work experience. So if you're a recent grad or if you have several years of work experience, we still take you with the basis that, any organization currently has 4 generations working with each other right now. So to cross-culturally communicate with, all age ranges is something that you learn inside of the classroom. But I think one thing that I've learned over the years is to have interest in global is unique to the person's upbringing. I can't teach you or force you to like global.
Yeah.
So I think the student who is coming to us specifically understands the benefits of the return on investment when you are able to connect with international clients because you speak either another language or you've had a multicultural upbringing or just been able to really connect with different places. So we really see a wide range of students from military to diplomatic children all the way to your regular recent grad student who is just saying, I did a study abroad and I want more. And so I think this is, good to know that we are filtering currently for the global mindset first, and then we help you specialize in whatever topic that you become interested in once you're here. And that really creates a dynamic culture because we never put you next to someone who doesn't have a global mindset, as opposed to, different types of ranges of topics. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. And how, Nita, how about you?
So I think ours is probably a little bit different in terms of the years of experience. Our Masters in Management program has really been designed for students coming right out of undergrad to those who have really a maximum of about 3 years of experience. So I think those students are really do best in our program since it's been designed for this sort of student. In terms of backgrounds, liberal arts and STEM majors, I think, are particularly attracted to our program. Our general management curriculum really complements their bachelor degree very well. But we've also noticed an interest from business majors as well. And when I speak to our business majors, what they say attracted them to the program is our technology and innovation focus, but also the hands-on experience. So, I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of immersive experiential learning in the program. And so this is quite different to their undergraduate studies, even if they've done a business degree, which is, I think, what attracts them. And then finally, students who are really interested in global business and doing business for good. These are 2 things that are really core to Georgetown's mission, our values, really infused in our curriculum. So I think generally those types of students are attracted to Georgetown and our program as well.
Yeah, well, great. Thank you all. Dr. Humayun, we're going to start with you on this one. How long does it generally take to complete? And is there a set curriculum or a certain level of flexibility in the courses?
Absolutely. Our students are allowed to complete their curriculum if they start in August in the matter of 21 months, but they can accelerate to 1.5 years. And then if they start in January, it's by default 1.5 years. So you have 2 entry points. Now, specifically, they have a lot of flexibility after their second semester because the students will then have different types of discussions if they have a second language yet or not. And then, our program is very transdisciplinary. So for your second year, you're not only going to be looking into international business courses, you can actually go to other colleges, up to about 13, 14 different colleges at ASU, from sustainability to law to healthcare. If you want to pick a second concentration in a non-global business kind of specialization, so that allows you to be able to diversify your skill set depending on the industry that you're targeting. And so naturally, our students will disperse into different colleges in the second year as a result. And that could create a different flexibility based on, the class time and sizes of those other colleges that are taking on our students as well. And then, of course, we have a specific international assignment, a consulting assignment component in our program that allows students to go abroad for 3 weeks to consult for a real-time client under our supervision on site, and the client pays for their flight and lodging. And so that project can be about in different times, either in the summer or the third semester, to work with the student around the regular other schedules of classes that they're taking as well. So we really do need to work with flexible schedules so that students can do what they want and get the knowledge that they're looking for, depending on their career goals that they're having here. So it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Nita, how about at Georgetown?
So our program is a 10-month program. It is a lockstep cohort format. And so what that means is that everybody starts together in August and then they all graduate together in May as well. So I mentioned we have a general business curriculum. We have one elective, which our students do with the full-time MBA students. And then we also have a global consulting project where students can customize somewhat as well in terms of what clients they'd like to work with and what locations as well. So there's some degree of customization there as well. But the program is really designed to give our students that general management curriculum, which is why a large part of it is a set curriculum.
Very good. And Brad, how about at Tepper?
We're 1 year and we run from January through December. And it's 1 year essentially because of the condensed focus, because we have the singular outcome, and that is to enter as a technical professional and to leave as a product manager. We also have, even within the course of that year, we provide experience in the form of internship and projects too. So it's not even all classroom the full year. It's an intense year. And within the courses that they do have, there's a core, which are the basic skills for all PMs. But then there are electives that allow them to, I describe it as flavors of PM. There are flavors that are more design centered and more interested in customer research. There are flavors that are more interested in the technical aspect, machine learning, AI, and others that are more interested in the business aspect, the marketing, the pricing, that type of thing. So they start with the same core courses and then sort of diverge based on where their heart takes them toward the final semester.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now we're going to examine, like, what do you really think is the key differentiator for your program? And for this one, we'll start with Nita, please.
If I had to pick one, I think we have a few, but if I had to pick one, I think it would be the technology and innovation focus for our Masters in Management program. So our program is a STEM designated program, and we do have a technology and innovation focus, which is really important. And it's really interwoven all throughout the curriculum. So you don't just see it in a single class or a couple of classes, but every single class has a technology and innovation component. It might be that you're learning a programming language in that class, but it could be through business cases, through business analytics, through class visits, site visits, many different ways, and a combination of ways as well, perhaps. But every class does have this component. I think that it really helps to set our program apart from other Masters in Management programs, and it really helps to, I think, train our students to be very good translators of technology to business. So that's the one key differentiator. The second one, if I'm able to add it, would just be global business. It's something, I mentioned it before, but it's really part of our core identity at Georgetown, at the business school, but also the wider school as well. Global business is infused throughout the curriculum. Our students, see it in the city where we're based as well, in DC. So many different opportunities in terms of internships, class visits, site visits. There's just there's a lot that we do on the global side as well. So those two, I think, will be the key differentiators.
Thank you. And Brad, what about you?
Well, in addition to kind of the experience level of the students and the focus of the program, the kind of surprise or the secret that the students walk away realizing, maybe not as they enter, but by the time they leave, is that because we have a design component to our curriculum, the design thinking really expands a lot of, especially technical people's minds. They don't walk in, they generally walk in thinking there's a black and a white, there's a right and a wrong answer to all problems. But the design thinking courses, component, and approach toward product management allows them to empathize with customers and understand the problem in depth that they're trying to solve. And that approach is, they walk away almost, I won't say all of them walk away with the same takeaway, but the majority, when we ask what was your biggest takeaway, it was that I learned problem solving from a design mindset. And that's kind of a rare ingredient to a program like this, where typically business programs teach business, technical programs teach technical, but that intersection is kind of what we have seen our alumni benefit from.
Great. And Dr. Humayun, same question.
Sure. I truly do believe our situation is twofold, because one, we're equipping students with a toolkit of being able to compare products and services in different countries. I think this is a very interesting skill set, because you're just not looking at it to say, okay, is this product going to be useful in the US? Is it going to be useful in Taiwan, or anywhere in Europe, anywhere in Latin America? And what are the cross-cultural components that affect those decision-making tools that could happen in order to launch effectively in a different country, in a different region, industry of sorts, to get you to think about, okay, why was IKEA so successful launching its business in the United States, whereas Home Depot wanted to do the same thing in Europe and was not successful? And what are the dynamics of those decisions that they have to make in order to have effective market entry? On top of having, this toolkit, a transdisciplinary approach is the highlight of what Arizona State University has become the #1 school in innovation in the country, because it's right now proven to us that problem solving takes a lot of different disciplines, like Brad was saying, to be able to look into different problems from a different perspective and lens. So when you have, not only one, but two concentrations coming through this particular program and looking at it from different lenses, I tell my students, you're two for the price of one. So instead of hiring two people, they hire you. So that way they would be able to get the multiple lenses to look at the problems and figure out what needs to be done.
Very good. Thank you. So now let's try to put yourself in the role of the student. What if we got the chance to ask students what they enjoyed or got out of your programs? What do you think their response would be? And Brad, we'll throw this one to you first.
I kind of jumped ahead with my previous answer, but the thing that they're typically surprised that they take away, they learn, and the value of it is the design thinking. Probably the next item that they would say is a delighter, or something that was necessary, but maybe upon entry they didn't realize it, is the experience they get during their internship and during their capstone project. Because hiring a zero experience product manager is rare, and maybe that's because it's not the best idea. So they come in and they sort of leave with even that experience as a badge in addition to their degree. So those things, and it really gives them the flavor for the real world too, and understanding different corporate cultures, those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Hamayan, back to you.
Yeah, I think as a student, especially an international student coming to the United States, I think the emphasis that we have on finding corporations, organizations from different types, private, public, global, social sector, government, and being able to hire international students, because we are at a 50-50 split, is a nice welcome for a lot of our students because they're looking for, jobs after graduation. And, much like Georgetown, this program of ours does offer STEM designation. So, right, it does have a wonderful feel that they can stay a little bit longer, a little bit extra time. So it's nice to know that they are being taken care of on top of our US students when they're looking for particular types of positions, in addition to be able to hang out with people from 35 countries, right? It's always nice to know that you can have friends out of your major click zone and say, wow, I have a lot of diversified friends now.
Oh, yes, that is a great experience for students. And so Nita, what about Georgetown?
So when I speak to our students, I think one of the first things that they always mention is the collaborative community and how much they enjoy it, how much they enjoy being in a community with like-minded individuals who want to have a positive impact on society. But I think they also cite those individual relationships, that they form not just with their classmates, but also with faculty, with students from other programs as well. So just as an example, our Masters in Management students have a lot of overlap with our full-time MBA students. So they join MBA clubs, they do that elective that I mentioned with MBA students, their leadership communications class, they actually have MBA students coaching them. So they almost form mentors and very close bonds with students from different programs. And I think that's something that so many of our students mention that they really value. The other part is, I'll go back to this immersive experiential learning environment only because so many students, tell me about it afterwards, and they go into the program not realizing how important this will be for them. But it allows them, working on a global consulting project, which is usually a highlight for them, and working on other projects like that, it allows them a number of different things. They can explore what different lines of work feel like, what projects in those areas feel like. They're able to build a portfolio of projects that they can put on their resume, so it helps them when they're interviewing. It helps them when they're on the job as well. So it has just so many, I think, multiple benefits in that way. And then, finally, I think a lot of students, and we just did some focus groups with our incoming students, and so I have this top of mind of what they've just said to me. But they did also mention the careers focus as well. So our program, it's a short program. It's a 10-month program, and students have to be prepared for that fall recruiting as well. And we start in August. So we really do focus on careers. I've mentioned there's weekly careers sessions, but also before the program starts. So we have summer programming where there are a number of different sessions, and a big component of that is also this careers part where they do one-on-one meetings with our director of career services. They have many different sessions that they can take part on, including a consulting boot camp, resume review, all of these different things. But we really do ensure that they're able to sort of hit the ground running. So I think they might not like it beforehand or when they're doing it, but they certainly, I think, appreciate the preparation that they've had when it comes to that time to interview, to look for jobs and those sorts of things.
Yeah, very good. Dr. Hamayan, we're going to go back to you for this one to start us off. So as students are exploring specialized master's degrees, perhaps among other options like an MBA, what would you advise them to consider in terms of the benefits of specialization versus a more general business degree?
Well, that's an excellent question, because if you think about it, right, knowledge is changing and updating so much, so quickly nowadays. And I think that students need to realize that specialization is the only way to go going forward, because as employers, different types of people are looking for so many niche type of people who have a particular focus or interest. But at the same time, I also feel like a lot of organizations and a lot of students who are applying to those organizations are feeling like they want to work for a company that aligns with their values, that aligns with their mission and goals and what they're trying to, particularly look for as well. So it's not just about, technical specialization, it's also about values. and, you know, how they're able to connect with the purpose of that company, and does it have a social impact type of component to it? It's not just profit driven. You know, all these different types of ideas that get you to where you need to go. And if you have a particular focus, in our case, two focuses, two concentrations in mind, then it gives you the diversity of being able to not only, you know, help out a particular company in one niche, but also have the additional business skills to be able to maneuver around other elements of the organization in hopes of being able to tackle problems, like I mentioned before, from multiple lenses. So that way they feel a little bit more comfortable that they can be put into different teams and not feel bored, and really help expand their skill sets, you know, as they go along. So that way their professional development is not stunted. And, you know, they can always go into entrepreneurial activities on the side for themselves, just so that they don't have to feel like they only have one main job, right? They can have multiple gigs. As you know, we really are embedded within the gig economy, and having a multifaceted career standpoint, especially in the United States, it's not a luxury anymore, it's a must-have, in order to be able to thrive in such a competitive marketplace like the United States. I always tell my students, US is not for the faint of hearts. So if you're going to come, you're going to bring your A game on to be able to really tackle the different types of ways to live here. And it only comes if you are really knowledgeable about different types of things and the things that you like, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Nita, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, so our program is a general management program. And so I think that, you know, it really depends on the student. I think everybody's looking for something different. Everybody's in a different point of their career journey as well. I think the benefit of a general business program when you're earlier on in your career is it allows you to explore what different lines of work feel like, different functional areas, especially if you come from a non-business background, from a liberal arts or a STEM background. It really does complement that more specialized background with that general lens that you can apply to different areas. But again, I'd go back to everybody has such different career goals. So I think you probably have to explore what, you know, different programs, speak to people that you know that have done different types of master's programs to really figure out the best fit for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brad, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, to build on the idea that everybody has their own initial starting point, I think the best thing to do is take an assessment of where you are today and where you want to be. And even with the understanding of, do I specifically know where I want to be? And that's where the specialization comes in. If you know, for example, you want to be this specific role in this type of company upon graduation, then maybe a specialized degree is the more streamlined, the more focused path. If you aren't sure, if you like, there are even within CMU, there are several ways to move toward product manager. Some of them are more broad and some of them are more deep. I would describe our degree as a broad set of skills, but focused, where other programs might provide more flexibility upon graduation. You can move into operations or consulting or other areas with the same set of skills. So I think, in fact, I just had this discussion on Sunday with an applicant, and we agreed that MSPM, the product management degree, is not for her because she's not sure she wants to be in product management after graduation. It's really for, understand that there are generalized degrees and there are specialized degrees. And that's kind of, I guess, the theme today, right?
Absolutely. Well, those conversations are so important for students to make sure that a program is right for them. So Nita, back to you. We may have talked about this a little bit. So if we have just, you know, summarize it in brief, but what type of work experience or skill sets are best suited for your program, and what kind of candidates tend to apply?
Yeah, and so because our program is really for pre-experienced students, or those who really have a maximum of 3 years of experience, most of our applicants are usually coming straight from undergrad. Most do tend to have internship experiences. Perhaps they have voluntary experiences that they've done, extracurricular activities at college, at university. but we do not require any experience. And so on average, our class profile has the students coming into the class of about 6 months of experience on average. And so we're really looking for people coming from different undergraduate backgrounds, different personal, cultural backgrounds as well. We're really looking to craft a diverse class where team-based activities are so important. So really people come from different backgrounds and no experience is really necessary.
Yeah, perfect. Brad, same question.
We basically, like I said, we have typically technical professionals, very often from computer science backgrounds, and engineering when not computer science. And we're looking to essentially take what they come in already knowing in terms of business or design or technology, and add leadership and find those weak spots within those other core areas and help them find them and help them build and focus on those areas.
Great. And Dr. Humayun.
So we are open to all majors and backgrounds on purpose. Because going back to that transdisciplinary focus, if you're a physics major and you have some sort of connection that, a global management program is going to diversify your skill set so you don't get, stuck in science in the future, no problem. Or if you're an engineer who wants to balance out their master's with a business focus and be able to, go to management level after they are engineer for a few years, that's okay. So I think from liberal arts all the way to more technical bachelor degrees that we take specifically is just hoping that the student can tell us the story in their admission essay on why they feel this is the right next step for them to globalize their career, in hopes of being able to take their career to the next level and thinking what that makes sense. And then, of course, we're going to give them brownie points, to the activities that they've done. Like I mentioned, second language, multicultural upbringing, travel, all these other different types of ways to enhance internships, study abroad. But the reality is, again, we have two cohorts, 0 to 5 years and then 5+ years of work experience. And we tailor our career management center to find internships and consulting gigs and then post-graduation positions based on their skill set, so they're not mingling in between each other. So really the 0 to 5 year cohort is really going to get the benefit amongst each other, and then for career planning, and then 5+ years is going to get the benefit of their career planning, because we know that we have some students who they have good work experience, but they really want to just get a US degree in the United States. And so that's why they're coming to a full-time master's program where they may essentially could have been in an executive program of sorts. Right. So we want to give them the benefit of being able to really mix together, to teach each other, learn from each other, and hopefully be their future network to help each other, get positions. And that way they can also be our alumni and have this wonderful give back or pay it forward type of mentality to their future students that come through our door, because we really offer really a bumper to bumper experience for the student to say, like, okay, from admissions, to advising, to your career management center, and then off to your post-graduation opportunity. We really want you to feel this continuity of support as we go along. But it really depends on, like everyone else was saying, what do you want, and how, and if we can support you, then we would love to have you with respect to your career goals. But the fact of the matter is we're very open to different industries, and we try to pair students to different mentors in those particular industries, so that way they have some sort of support. But like Nita said, that in classroom bonding with different types of people, and really supporting each other through student clubs and different leadership activities inside of the network, is going to be as key as possible to have that collaboration, to kind of collaborate to graduate mentality, because that's what we're all here for, to collaborate to graduate our lives. So
Yeah, very good. I think that's a good lead in into the next question about, what you're looking for in applicants, not just in, including, but not just test scores and GPA, but what are some of those soft skills that are more okay, we'll just move on. What are some of those soft skills and how do you kind of evaluate them? Brad, let's start with you.
This is my favorite question because I think it's really the detail and the area that separates successful product managers from less successful product managers, because a product manager's day-to-day life is managing stakeholders, managing interdisciplinary stakeholders, even more difficult. So what we look for and the brand that we're trying to build within the family of our graduates is first the ability to influence without authority. So the persuasion to share a vision with your team and have them follow you, because most resources for product managers are not by virtue of organizational structure. The second is in line with the design thinking that I mentioned earlier, the ability and the willingness to be empathetic, to see problems as your customers see them, to see them through their eyes so that you can truly solve the problem. And then finally is the ability to take these skills and weave them into a storytelling ability to provide context and scenery and to make people care. Really, those are the things that you won't find on a GMAT score. Those are the things that really are the inspirational aspects of the role and the students that we want to bring in.
Yeah. Nita, how about you? Do you, what's the balance of these soft skills and, the test scores and GPA?
Yeah, that's a great question, one that we get asked a lot. But we really do take a holistic approach to admissions, really balancing both of these elements, the quantitative part with the qualitative part. So, of course, we look at undergraduate GPA, classes, and those sorts of things. We for this year we're actually waiving the GMAT GRE requirement for those other 3.2 GPA and above. But all of these things we'll look at. But on the qualitative side, we'll look at all aspects of an application, from essays to recommendations to resume, to really dive deep into your internship experiences, extracurricular activities, voluntary experiences. We're really looking to get to know the person, to find out your unique story, your motivations, and then we look for fit on both sides. So how does Georgetown fit into your goals, your personal goals, your professional goals? How can we add value to you? But also, how can you add value to our community, to our collaborative culture, to our inclusive culture? So really balancing all of these elements together. But I think the key thing is we're looking to get to know everybody's unique story. Everybody has a unique journey, a unique path that they've traveled, and all of these little pieces together make up that whole holistic picture.
Yeah, the story is so important. Dr. Hamayan, what do you think?
Well, I wholeheartedly echo what Brad and Anita just said. My heart's in design thinking, so empathizing with the client is obviously every time. And the holistic approach where Anita said is definitely going to be key for us because, submitting a resume sometimes really doesn't share that story, right? That admission essay is where you're going to personalize that story. So we know, the human element of the background and the story of how you were able to tell us and connect the dots of, where you're coming from, why Thunderbird, and where you're going. And then the interview is actually conducted with one of our graduates, an alum of our program, to really determine the fit of the type of person that we want to bring to the table, because they really leverage our alum for mentorship so much during the program that we want to make sure that the alum have a say in it, as, the type of student that they're bringing into it. And of course, from a quantitative standpoint, at least in the 8 years that I've been in this role, honestly, I've seen so many interesting people with varying GPAs come through our door depending on their extracurricular activities that really were rock star students when they were here. So in my personal opinion, GPA is not all that it's cut out to be. It just really just depends on the different additional activities that you're passionate about alongside the different life, events that have happened in your life that, how have you come over adversity or different types of, just problems that you may have come across in your life, and what are the inspirations that have led you to do XYZ action is much more interesting to me in the admissions process in general. So that way we feel a little bit more comfortable, like, hey, there's a lot of courage here. And then obviously we're still in pandemic mode, so not a lot of people can take GMAT and GRE type of tests around the world. So we are also level the playing field of being able to give a lot of waivers out just for the benefit of students being able to have a chance of still being able to come here. And our school really adopted Duolingo as the main premier English language test in order to get entry into our master's programs. And so it's an online English test you do at home. You don't have to go to a testing center in order to get exposed. And we will take those instead of the TOEFL or IELTS or separately. So that way it's a little bit more flexible for our students if they need it, or if they get a university letter and just indicating their bachelor was in English, just to be able to help them with the English proficiency, kind of exam.
Yeah. Great. I do want to make sure we get to this question. So I want to go ahead and skip forward a little bit. But what advice do you have for someone thinking about a specialized master's, but not quite sure which direction to go? And we'll go ahead and start with you, Nita.
So I think I mentioned it before, but I think the first place to start is doing your research. So if you're watching this video or if you're participating live, I think that's a great first step. Reach out to or look at school websites that you might be interested in, see what different programs they have, attend those events, reach out to your network, speak to people who have done different types of programs. When you have these different conversations with people that have taken different paths, I think you'll probably figure out which way you want to go. And then that will give you a better indication to then do more research for the specific programs that you're interested in.
Yeah, very good. Brad, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll prescribe the medicine that I've taken for myself in the past. And I'll say specifically, I think it's a good activity to actually create a mind map or an affinity diagram of where you want to be, and take assessment of, as you build those ideas out, take assessment of where you are right now, and those key skills that you want to grow, the directions in which you want to grow. Overlay them with what the different programs and different pathways, maybe it's not academic, maybe it's something else, but maybe it is. And maybe there is a program that fits those skills you want to gather. And maybe there's even bonus ones that as you're exploring your own mind, you stumble upon and realize that, oh, this is clearly the path forward for me. Again, everything is individual based on your starting and destination, but I'd say I recommend that always as a tangible activity. Get a bunch of Post-it notes and have at it.
Yeah, great. Dr. Hamayan, what advice?
Speaking of Post-it notes, I personally wanted to share my own journey when I was trying to figure out what I really would love to do in my life. Because, I think especially at, I don't know if this is a thing, but like, especially in the 26, 27 years of age, you kind of pivot into this fork in the road type of world that we live in. And it really happens in different ages for people, but I feel like that age is really tender. And I was thinking, okay, but by the time you're in your 30s, you really do have to come into the table with a specialty that why society wants to, hire you for whatever XYZ reason, right? So your 20s, you're exploratory, you're trying to figure out, what you like and all that stuff. And then that's the point where you really have to kind of sit down either with Post-it notes or whatever you're using and everything like that to really jot down at least 5 things that you're truly passionate about, that you cannot live without in your life to be able to do the design that you want to have with respect to the strengths that you already think or believe that you have, and stick to it, because I can't tell you how many times that, of course, we hear so many opinions from other people about informing how I should manage my life and, what direction I should go to and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's you, yourself, and I, and you really need to trust your gut instinct when it comes to direction. So that way, that whatever direction that you choose is going to be based on your life design. That you are trying to configure around it. And the most important reason why this is important is that once you feel and realize that these are particular strengths of yours, you can never really compare yourself anymore, because in society, we have a tendency to compare each other a lot. Yes. And once you realize that you have this tendency to really actually love and enjoy this type of work that you're doing, the number one thing that you gain is the freedom to be able to do what you want without the worry, the stress of, am I better, am I less, am I blah, 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 all that stuff. It's not about that anymore. It's just about getting better and competing against yourself and being able to enjoy the work that you're specifically doing, regardless of who's next to you.
Yes.
And I think this is really important.
That's very good. Very well said. I am sorry that we have to end it on that very good advice that we all should heed. And I just want to thank you all for joining us. I had a lot of fun. If you are watching us live, next up is our careers panel. So be sure to stick around for that. And thank you all very much. Bye.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Bye.